Hi, welcome to Martha Reads. In the last episode, I read Circle of Roses by me, Martha Wickham, and I was at the part where Tara the Bride of Frankenstein was destroyed by a voodoo doll, and Rose the Psychic needed to get rid of her body, kind of innocently. And she was really just trying to defeat evil, but didn't want to have to explain that. So let's pick up where we left off in Circle of Roses. Heading back home, it was now dark. She opened the garage door to find the voodoo doll was lying on the freezer. Rose's eyebrows lifted. It was the perfect place for Tara. She dug out the frozen vegetables and threw them on the cement. After opening the trunk of the car, she dragged Tara out. She dropped her into the freezer and tapped it shut by wrapping it around 3 times. Tara took the doll in her hand. "You will not let her out," she said. She then chuckled, backed her car into the garage, and went inside with the doll. She wanted to keep it and took Tara's picture off. It had obviously killed Tara. She took an old doll dress and placed it on the doll, then placed the doll in her guest room dresser drawer. The cat mewed in agreement. Her night was filled with a few strange noises, but nothing too strange. Come midnight, she got up and took the doll to give it blonde hair. She loved the doll, and they were best friends. All the doors and windows were locked safely. The night was calm. Crickets chirped outside. In the morning, Rose went into the garage and opened the freezer. The body went into the trunk. Afterwards, her back hurt. She stopped a few seconds, then grabbed a shovel. Not wanting to be seen, it was going to be done late that night. She went inside and called the shop. "Mystery solved. How is everything there?" "It's fine. We had a few customers. It's getting hotter in here. We'll need fans or better air conditioning." "What mystery?" Lily asked. "Of Frankenstein's bride, Tara. She made those zombies that were here and killed Fern. She died in Tara's backyard. Now the machine to create zombies is gone, and so is Tara. I just have to bury her in her old spot," Rose said, worried about having to do that. "It would seem weird celebrating," Lily said, with her platinum long wavy blonde hair falling over her face. The door in the shop was open for fresh air. "I wish just the windows would open. Guess what? I got a call from a guard at Joliet Prison. You know, the really old one that had all these famous criminals." "I don't think I've ever heard of it," Rose replied. "They want all of us to go there and investigate," she said, emphasizing the word us. "They have complaints from people and inmates there are ghosts. Haha, maybe they're afraid they're gonna help some prisoners escape." "Me and Violet are going. Are you coming? We should band together." "Oh, I'm definitely in. It's probably haunted, and it will take all of us to cleanse a whole prison. I wonder how stubborn a prisoner's ghost could be." "When are you going?" "Around 5 tomorrow night. I want to see if I can get any visions. Hopefully ghost contact, too." "I'll meet you at the shop." "All right, see you then. And Lily, don't tell anyone I'm burying Tara again. She was an introvert and went unnoticed. She only came back because she had to, and knew soon she would return to the grave. It's not a very pleasant thought." "Of course." "Best friends?" "Yes, besties forever. I miss that little Fernie. She was so quiet and read people's fortunes like a real gypsy. She's here, too." "I know. She's still one of us. See ya. See ya." Looking through her copies of obituaries, she found John Matthews. It said he had died in the prison of suicide. No one claimed his body, and he was buried in the prison cemetery far away in Monkey Hill. He was 34 and had no family. That was something she wanted to see. The gravestones in the picture were shaped like coffins. Some had no writing. Wanting to get it over with, she drove to the cemetery to only dig the hole. Later, she would sneak back and bury the body in it. Who would notice anything strange? For a long time, it looked like animals were digging in it. The sun beat down on Tara Belinda's grave. A crow cawed. She dug it easily. The freezer coffin was only 5 feet long. Almost out of gas, she went to fill it up and get directions to the prison. Upon getting home, she went in her room to take a nap, then got up to eat dinner and head to the graveyard around midnight. Rose hoped she would rest in peace. The freezer was left untouched until that night. She awoke at 11 p.m. to a crash. Tara. Afraid, Rose was speeding all the way to the graveyard to bury her. It was easy as there were few cars. While driving, she saw Tara's ghost in the road behind her. When she parked by the graveyard, the only light was the moon. Out of respect, she removed the tape. It could have helped her rest in peace. The freezer would keep out water and bugs. The white coffin was so heavy it was lifted a little, then pushed into the ground. The dirt was efficiently pushed over it. There was a feeling of peace. Goodbye. You didn't mean what you did. Rest in peace. May you be knocking on heaven's door. Amen. She picked a bunch of wildflowers and placed them on the grave. I hope you're in a better place. All was well. Her focus was now on how to clear a whole prison of ghosts. It didn't sound too realistic. At home, to pass time, she glued thick yellow yarn on the voodoo doll's head. She was basically turning it into a regular rag doll, not a voodoo doll. She had found out the prison they were going to was in Joliet, just outside of Chicago. Preparing for the trip, she placed a map, tape recorder, and water in her purse. She was early and heading straight to her psychic shop. Rose and Violet sat in the shop as Lily cleaned up her tarot cards. Bye, Lily. I'll see you next week to let you know how it goes, her customer called to her. Okay, see you then. I can't wait to see this prison, Violet said. I want to bring my pendulum and dowsing rod. I think you should bring your crystal ball, she said to Rose, looking anxious. I'm afraid it will break. I'm wearing my rose quartz bracelet for protection. I'm going to read my crystal ball really quick. They all sat in a circle around the table. Violet jumped up and turned out the lights. Rose lit 2 candles and stared into the foggy ball. In the midst of candlelight, there appeared a circle of red roses. Will this be dangerous? There appeared a 100-year-old rundown prison with a cloudy gray sky. I guess it's saying the prison is old and dangerous, or it's haunted and will rain. We'll stick together. Let's go, Lily said. I have a babysitter watching my 2 kids. She's just from down the street. She and Violet went in one car and Rose followed them. Once on the road, they stopped at a gas station for Lily to call home and check on her kids. They're fine. Dana was crying as she was hungry, but that was solved. Back on the road, she and Violet liked road trips. When it was time for Lily to slow down, so did Rose, and to her left she could see an old brown fortress. The prison looked like medieval times, but it wasn't. It was built in the mid-1800s. This was where John Matthews lived. Even more fascinating was a smaller version, exactly the same building across from it. The sky darkened with evening clouds, and they walked through the first door they saw. We're here to investigate a haunting. We're from Rose's Crystals, Lily said to a security guard whose name tag read May. Good, welcome. I'll be showing you the men's and women's cells, she responded. Should I be getting this? Rose said as she reached for her recorder. Violet shook her head no and looked around. The place was so old. May continued. The prison is over 100 years old. People have died here, and the prison has its own cemetery. I can give you the address to the cemetery if you want to see it. She wrote down the address and handed it to Rose. There are outlaws buried there. Ghostly sounds have been heard on the 3rd and 4th floors if you want to see it. Yes, they all headed up that way. While walking up the stairs of the men's prison, Violet took out her dowsing rod to check for a ghostly presence. With every minute that went by, it got darker and colder. The prisoners watched. They weren't prepared for the cold as it was still April. The dowsing rod shook a little bit on the stairs. It pointed to the door on the 1st floor. May reappeared. Did you find something? My rod is pointing out that door, Violet said. That's the women's prison. I have heard it's just as haunted. Let me get my keys. She grabbed them, and they were out the door. It was an exact replica of the men's prison, but a smaller fortress of 100 cells. Violet looked up to see a flash of green light in the dark top floor window fly by. The lights on the first 2 floors were on. May unlocked the front door, and they were in. They climbed the stairs to the top, dark floor. It looked like a psych ward, though they weren't sure if it was one or just an area to punish prisoners. It was dark except for some cracks of light coming through. There were plastic rooms for solitary confinement where people lost their minds. They slowly looked around, and Rose turned on her tape recorder. Is there a green ghost in here? Rose asked. There was a distant moan. Can you tell me your name? Margaret, it responded. Can you give us a sign as to where you are? Rose asked. Just then, a green ghost in a casual dress from the early 1900s stood staring from inside a clear room. They all entered it. She disappeared, and the door slid shut and locked. She reappeared as an emerald green mist and laughed. I don't believe this. Lily tried to open the door. All of them tried, and they kicked it. I've got to get into another line of work, Lily said. You can get a second job, Victoria answered. They started yelling for help, but no one came. May had left. Rose and Lily went to the window and saw a car go past. Rose had lost her protective bracelet. Is anyone there? Rose asked. There was no answer, so she turned the recorder off for a while. Violet's watch said 5:05 p.m. They laid on the bed. At least they had each other. They have to come eventually, Rose said, staring at her rose tattoo. How will we cleanse this place? Violet asked. She was the youngest and shortest of them since Fern died. Her hair, which reached her chin, was also the shortest. She would lead them into the light. It was deathly still except for a few strange shuffles. It may take a seance to lead them, though. When we get out, we get the stuff, then come back and do it. Rose looked hopeful. I hope that cop lady doesn't get mad we're up here, Violet said. Do you think these walls are soundproof? Yes, Rose answered. They were safe and secure, but did not want to see that green ghost mist again. They sat quietly until Rose said, Where's a spirit jar when you need it? I hope the male ghosts don't get over here, Lily said. The phantom head of an Old West prisoner could be seen out the window. It was behind the men's prison. It vanished and then appeared on the roof of the men's prison for 7 seconds. Violet, where's your camera? Rose said, joking. I didn't bring one, she said, shaking in fear and hurt that she would joke at a time like that. Again, the head could be seen, but this time it was a few feet closer. What does it want? Lily asked. When the head appeared next, it was in between both prisons and rolled in their direction before vanishing. They saw the front door open and shut, and a thud was heard in a dark corner. They all moved back as it rolled up to the front of the clear door. What do you want? Rose shouted. Leave us alone. I just want my body. Have you seen it? No, we've been trapped in here. We're ghost hunters, Rose answered, thinking it could do no harm. Well, I have been looking for my body for 100 years. Will you help me look if you get out? I can't. We got trapped by a green ghost, she said. That's the green lady. She used to be a prisoner here and sometimes wails about it, and then prisoners can't sleep, the ghost said. I'm Will Burns. You have to help me find my body. It's probably in Monkey Hill. Can you let us out of here? Rose asked. I don't think so. If I had my body, I could grab a key or handle or something. That's why I don't understand why they took it. Can you at least tell us if that green ghost is here? Rose asked. She's not. Can you tell someone we're trapped? Anyone? Giving up, Rose sat on the floor. Okay, I'll try. He floated towards the door and vanished when he hit it. The lights downstairs did not go out until late every night. So, I think I'll stop there until the next video. So thank you for listening. I enjoyed reading it. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for watching Martha Reads.